Hello everyone, so today we're going to be reading Into the Woods, Yandere Masky X Male Listener Up in Here. We are currently in chapter 10, but I don't necessarily think we should go back a chapter for a purpose of a recap. Why, you may ask? Because it is just asking questions. So it's not really technically going to be a full recap of what has happened. So, let's just get straight into this warning. So there is going to be a lot of warnings because this story is just packed. So there's also warnings between chapters if I do miss any by chance, because there's just so much. So first, if I can remember, there is mentions of raping and isolation, manipulation, and Stockholm syndrome mentioned. There will be mentions of child abuse, alcohol abuse, murder, pretending somebody else murdered that person when in fact you did. Happy childhood mentions. Next, there will be mentions of guns. There will probably be guns firing here. More murder, blood, violence. Next, there'll be mentions of a lot of wounds happening, how to cleaning up wounds, threatening to kill somebody, or just threatening, assaulting someone. There's going to be like some smexy themes in here. I do tell you specifically where the smut is in a specific chapter. I obviously don't read the smut, but yes, there is smut in this. I'm not reading it, but I'm letting you know so you guys can read it yourselves if you want to. And if there's anything else I've missed, which I probably have, they will be on the screen right now. You guys have been warned, and trust me when I say there is a lot. I mean a lot of warnings in this. It is redonkulous, but there is. So yeah, you guys have been warned. Chapter 10. Oh, thank you. Extra warnings. Extra warnings after the warnings. Mentions of RAPE, abuse, Stockholm Syndrome, depictions of gore, and mentions of death. Thank you. You sat in the dark room holding your head. You were on the verge of a breakdown. Despite how many times he had done things to you, his loving and caring attitude towards you, how he made sure you got enough food, how he protected you. It made you question if you really loved this man. Surely you couldn't. He was a monster. He RAP'd you multiple times and only seemed to care about how he felt about it. But he apologized afterwards, which confused you. Who would apologize to someone who they kidnapped and RAP'd? You hardly heard the voice you've grown so used to over the months saying they were leaving for a couple of days, only coming to once you heard the front door open and close. You looked up, noticing the light flickering into the room from the open door upstairs. Standing, you carefully and quietly walked up, finding that the cabin was completely devoid of any life other than yours. You crept around the empty cabin, getting more confident with every step. First, the downstairs rooms, empty, dusty, and one of them you were pretty sure had a couple rotting corpses in them. But on the bright side, you found the laundry room. The upstairs rooms weren't much different. All of them were either empty or covered in dust. There were actually 4 rooms. There were only 4 actual rooms, one being locked. There was also a bathroom that was much cleaner than yours, despite your desperate attempts to scrub the entire place down. It probably has hot water too. You say, meaning to sound salty about having to take cold showers, but it lasted a total of 2 seconds before you gasped in excitement. It probably has hot water! You run to the basement, grabbing all of your dirty clothes and bringing them upstairs, which was only like an armful. You dump them on the floor in the laundry room, opening the washer and putting all of your colored clothes in, dumping the soap in, and turning the soil level to heavy. You were so excited you were practically vibrating. You watched the washer for a moment, then darted up the stairs, stopping by the locked door. You needed clothes if you wanted to take a shower. In this room probably belonged to your captor. You run to the bathroom, digging through the drawers and cabinets, finding 2 hairpins and running back to the locked door. You bent the pins, sticking them in and jiggling them around until you heard a click. You tossed the pins to the side, standing and grabbing hold of the doorknob. Please don't be a sex dungeon. Please don't be a sex dungeon. Please don't be a sex dungeon. You pleaded, opening the door fast, keeping your eyes shut tight. Peeking open one eye, you find a clean room. The floor was hardwood like the hallway, but a deep blue shag rug covered most of it. On top of the rug was a neatly made, soft, warm-looking bed with a thick, deep blue blanket, a light gray blanket underneath it, and several fluffy pillows sitting at the head of the bed. You were definitely going to sleep in it after your shower. Good for you. You turn your attention away from the bed, looking to the bedside table to the right. There was a lava lamp on top, a soft glow coming from it as the red liquid bubbled inside it. To the left was a bookshelf, containing mostly comic books, but you could spot quite a few novels, most of them sounding like horror novels or mystery books. Against the wall by the door was a dresser with a mirror atop it. You walked to the dresser, opening drawers and pulling out the items of clothing you needed, which was literally just a giant baggy shirt, considering none of the other clothes were big enough. Leaving the room, you dart to the bathroom and slam the door shut, turning the shower on and stripping. You step in, moaning at the sensation of hot water hitting your back. It felt rejuvenating. Everything about the shower was amazing. Your joy had run out after a few hours as the water slowly began to get cold. You left the shower and put the shirt that was surely big on the other, but just your size, realizing this was probably a shirt he stole from you. Creepy. As well as your least dirty pair of boxers on. Going to the washing machine and moving your now clean clothes to the dryer, putting in another load of clothes before running upstairs and getting under the blankets. You quickly drift off to sleep, snoring louder than a freight train. Good for you. The next day you woke up feeling extremely well rested. You'd almost forgotten you were where you were for a mere second. That was until you remembered your clothes were still in the washer. You ran downstairs, pulling the ones out of the dryer and running them out to the couch before running back, putting your still wet clothes into the dryer, starting it, and then running to launch yourself back over to the back of the couch. Falling face first into the pile of laundry on the couch, you sat up and began folding them, sorting them into piles of shirts, underwear, and pants. This didn't take long, and by the time you were done, you noticed just how hungry you actually were. You went to the kitchen, rummaging through the cabinets and fridge, a noise of triumph leaving your throat as you found a bag of Doritos. Within seconds, you'd gone from productive to lazy, laying slouched on the couch, shoving chips into your mouth as you stared at the blank TV. Turning it on, you quickly find that it is hooked up to Wi-Fi and has YouTube. You bolt upright, nearly choking on the chips, stuffing your cheeks to the point that you look like a chipmunk. You opened YouTube, almost clicking on a video just to comment asking for help. You stopped, thinking. You were kind of enjoying it here. Sure, you had to deal with abuse and RIPE, but you didn't want to leave. You couldn't fathom why. This life was bullcrap, but you couldn't imagine not living here. You groaned, leaning back and clicking on the search bar. Great, I've developed Stockholm Syndrome. You grunt, but cheer up seeing Technoblade was live. Oh, you poor soul. Soon, you'd been choosing a name for the turtle, getting disappointed that he chose Toby and not Merlin. You didn't know why you got so upset about a Minecraft turtle. It was just some pixels on the screen, but you did. I just wanted to be a humble bee farmer. What? I just wanted to be a humble bee farmer. You chuckle at Techno. His disappointment in the giant bee farm was funny. You watched the entire stream, having moved to where you were slouched and man spread on the couch. For the rest of the day, you sat there, only occasionally getting up for more chips or to grab a soda from the fridge, sometimes even to use the bathroom. You didn't even care to move when you heard the front door open. Too absorbed in Markiplier's Raft video. I think I watched that. I actually did. You chuckled at Wade, struggling, moving your chips into your mouth before gulping down like half the can of soda you held in your mouth. You were a glutinous bitch, and you were proud. What the fuck are you doing? Tim's voice held enough confusion for you to clearly picture his face without even looking at him. I'm committing 5 of the 7 deadly sins: gluten, sloth, pride, greed, and envy. Soon to be 7 if you interrupt me, you say, not even looking away from the TV. Oh, and I'm committing several crimes, you add as he closes the door. Theft and tax fraud are at the top currently. How the fuck did you get my clothes? Oh, right. I forgot to add invasion of personal property. Probably shouldn't have left hairpins in your bathroom. Where do you even have those anyway? I mean, not like I'm complaining. You gesture to several pins in your hair as you look at him. I'm just curious. You picked my lock? Yeah, why do you have hairpins though? Where the fuck did you learn to pick locks? Come on, dude. We're not all fucking perfect. Now answer my question. Why the fuck do you have hairpins? It's a simple question. Why did you pick my lock? Jesus fuck, man. Is it really that embarrassing to admit that you like to do your hair? That's not what I'm concerned with right now. I'm concerned about the fact that you picked the lock to my bedroom door. Hey, if you're concerned about the fact that I saw your gay porno mags, don't be. Then don't be. We all have them. What? Did you say you saw my gay porno mags? What? No, you have gay porno mags? No, I don't have fucking gay porno mags. Aw, shame. What? Okay. Question from author. Do you like Technoblade? I kind of just found out about him, but he's pretty damn funny. Also, you may notice the warning. I figured I'd put it in this chapter because this chapter starts off strong. 1,550 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. This is not realistic of what would actually happen, unless it's like a 1 to 3 trillion chance. I don't think anyone would want to experience it in any way. Just be aware. This is not how usually things go. So yeah, just making sure everyone's aware. Okay. Anyways, chapter 11. Did you say you saw my gay porno mags? What? No, you have gay porno mags? No, I don't have fucking gay porno mags. Oh, shame. What? Tim asked, sounding confused and angry. Anyways, I need more Coke. This bitch empty. You say, mumbling a soft yee as you toss the can at the growing pile of trash behind the couch and getting up. Walking to the kitchen. You open the fridge, grabbing the last 2 sodas out and bringing them back to the couch where you'd once again plop down. Hey, Timmy boy, come watch YouTube with me. You say, looking at the shocked man by the door. You're gonna fucking get diabetes or some shit like that. You make us sleep in a molded bed. I don't want to hear anything. Tim says, walking and sitting on the couch anyways. You shrug and hand him the soda anyways, opening your own and chugging half of it, only to laugh because causing some to exit your nose. That's fucking disgusting. Tim says, grimacing at the snot soda. So is pizza, but people can still choke that greasy shit down. 1, pizza is not disgusting. And 2, what kind of point are you trying to make? Sir, I'd like you to explain how pizza is even remotely edible, because the grease on that shit is disgusting. You avoided my question entirely, and where the hell are you getting pizza that is oily? Little Nero's Pizza? Where else? And I avoided your question because I hate that you were questioning me. You're gonna help me make pizza tonight. I will not stand for your ignorance towards that delicious food, and it's including pineapples, because it's not pizza without the P. then what do ISA stands for? You watch as Tim stands from the couch heading for the kitchen. Get your ass in here, he yells to you, making you stand and jog towards the kitchen. Once you enter, you see Tim pulling various ingredients out, as well as a mixing bowl and a cookie sheet. So what's first, Chief? You ask Tim, looking at the ingredients. Well, first, you wash your gross-ass gremlin hands. After washing your hands, Tim instructed you to put 7 cups of flour into the mixing bowl while he put yeast into a cup of warm water. Once you'd done as told, but you dumped the last cup of flour in some... Sorry, you done as told, but as you dumped the last cup of flour in, some flew up into your face, making you squeeze your eyes shut, scrunching your face and pulling your head back. Tim chuckles at your reaction, causing you to glare at him. Shut it, masked fuck. You can't do anything right. Excuse me? You're the one who just failed to put flour into a bowl. I'm self-projecting, okay? You fake cry. Stop being a baby and let's make this pizza. He laughs. You and Tim continue to make the pizza, stopping every now and then to make a joke or laugh at each other. By the time you two got the pizza into the oven, Tim had lost his mask and you were both now covered in flour, tomato sauce, and various other baking ingredients. I'm proud of the disaster we've created, you say, placing your fist on your hips and puffing your chest out. You'll be even more proud once we eat it, Tim says with a chuckle. You look at Tim, who's only about a foot away from you, a smile on your face. He smiles back, and you were quickly lost in his chocolatey brown eyes. Your eyes... Oh my God, how dare... Anyways, your arms slowly fell from their position as you stared into his eyes, the smile never leaving your face. Tim seemed to be also lost in your eyes, and just for a moment, everything seemed to slow down. That was until...
Top of the morning to you ladies, my name is Ch.18
rang out from the living room, causing you both to jump about a foot in the air. Hello, Mother Mary of fuck, what the... Holy Mother Mary of fuck, what the absolute shittery, I forgot the TV was on. You shout out, now clinging to Tim. Tim was holding on to you, the short male chuckling at you. Shut it! I nearly pissed myself. You yell at him, still clinging to him for dear life. Also, quick AN before we continue. I don't know if I specified your character's height, but if so, you're half foot taller than Tim because I believe in tall bottom supremacy. I'll probably end up going to change it back anyway. Tim's like 5'7" or something, so you'll be about 6'1". Okay. There is a smut warning. I'm gonna go ahead and skip through that. I think we skipped it. Okay. So we are past the smut. Now you are aware that what's the chapter? That chapter 11 has smut. So glad I made it aware. And I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Anyways, for the rest of the evening, Tim had you screaming. By the time the pizza was done, you were so excited and your throat and ass hurt so bad that all you wanted to do was sleep. And that's exactly what you did. You passed out on the couch, covered in, you know what, and sweat. When you woke up the next day due to your stomach growling, you found that you were cleaned up and a shirt as well as a pair of boxers had been put on you, and you were covered by a soft baby blue blanket. You groaned and rolled over to face the front of the couch, only for your leg to bump into someone's back. Looking to see who the person was, you saw Tim, watching the news and drinking coffee. You tried sitting up but hissed in pain from your back. Your entire lower half was on fire. Tim turns to you, his face displaying a tired version of concern. Take it easy. You're gonna hurt yourself. I'll go get you some pizza from last night. Before you could protest, Tim had already stood up and walked to the kitchen. When he came back, he had a plate with 2 slices of pizza as well as a cup of water. Setting them on the coffee table, he helps you sit up before handing you the pizza. You stared at it, hesitating a moment before biting into it. Holy shit, this is amazing. You whispered out through a mouthful of pizza. I know, and you helped me make it. You're one hell of a cook, YN. Tim chuckles. I've learned it from Felix's father. He was a cool guy. I'm aware. I know a lot more about you than you think I do. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what stalkerish. Oh wait, never mind. Your voice cracked from screaming so loud, and you were thrown into a fit. And you were thrown into a fit of coughs. Tim quickly grabbed the cup of water, handing it to you so you could drink it. You chugged almost the entire glass, handing it back to Tim and sighing as you wiped the leftover water from your mouth. Damn, that did feel good. All right. This is from the author. Hola, mi amigos. It is I, your author. I'm getting into the romance of the story. You proud of me? Anyway, your question for today is, are you good at cooking, or are you like me, a person who despises cooking with every fiber of your being because you have to lift too many things on fire? 1,729 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. It's fine. If I was being completely honest with you, probably not the best version of romance. 'Cause, I mean, not the best version of romance. You're just like, nah. Sorry, but sorry. Alright, we is officially in, chapter 12. Warnings for this chapter. Contains mentions of child abuse, gore, and alcohol abuse. Okay? A black and red small matchbox car rolled across the floor of the large living room, bumping into the carpet and rolling back before coming to a stop. Your small hand reaches out, grabbing the car and bringing it to the ramp once you'd made out of food coloring and crayons. Setting it to the top of the ramp, your dull eyes watched as it began rolling, only for the ramp to get kicked and fall apart. A few of the coloring books slide across the hardwood floor, the crayons rolling after as you watch. Once they come to a stop, you turn your small head to look at the one who kicked it, your dull and tired eyes scanning their features as your small, frail 5-year-old body prepares itself for what's going to happen. There stood your uncle, a brown bottle in his hand. The only identifiable emotion on his face was disgust. You knew not to speak up, so you hung your head and turned away to find your car. As you were about to walk away, the straps of your dirty and torn overalls were grabbed, and you were yanked back and lifted into the air. You make breathy, whimpering noises and gasp as you attempted to grab something to pull you back down to the floor, your small hands grabbing at the air. Your eyes widen as you feel yourself to be propelled forward, the hold on your overall straps disappearing. Shortly after being replaced by the pain rocking through every nerve in your body as you crashed into the floor, a pained wheeze leaving your frail body as the air is forced from your lungs. You gasp and shake, your breath raggedy and broken as you reach out, attempting to crawl away. Your feeble attempt at escaping didn't go unnoticed by the man behind you, his large foot soon finding its way onto your hand, the rubber outer sole of the boot digging to the skin of your hand, your knuckles popping painfully as a weak whisper of a yell leaves your lungs. The chuckle of the adult causing you this pain rings through your ears just moments before the brown bottle he held in his hands comes crashing down onto your head with enough force to make your head hit the floor and the bottle to shatter. You weakly lifted your head as blood poured from your nose, the new wound on the back of your head stinging as the blood runs from it, soaking your hair and running onto your face before falling to the floor. The weight on your hand disappears as your uncle walks away to the kitchen. You shakily push yourself up, your head spinning as you attempt to stand. Finally getting to your feet, you hold your head as you stumble to the back door. Everything seemed to be spinning, and you couldn't focus on anything no matter how hard you tried, though you somehow managed to make it to your backyard and out of the gate, stumbling and falling multiple times as you run to your neighbor's house. You made it to their back door, falling into it with a thud before passing out. When you came again, you were laying on a couch, a blond boy with bright blue eyes and chubby, freckled cheeks staring down at you. You blink and suddenly the boy was gone, and in place was a familiar white mask with black, feminine features. You jolt up on the couch, placing a hand on your head as you clutch the blue blanket covering you. Coming to your senses, you realize you're in Timothy's house, the dream fading away as you realize that you were alright. Hey, what got you so worked up? Bad dream or something? Tim's smooth voice calls out, bringing your attention back over to him. You nod with a soft sigh, closing your eyes as your hand drops back to your side and you lay back down. Yeah, something like that. You say, your voice soft and a bit raspy. Do you want me to get you something to drink? No, I think I'll be fine. Thank you, though. You give him a soft smile, looking at him with half-lidded eyes. He stands, carefully grabbing your shoulders and lifting you up before sitting down with your head in his lap. You could have just asked me to sit up for a second, you say with a soft chuckle. Nah, it's easier for me to just lift you up, he replies, taking his mask off and tossing it onto the coffee table. He grabs the remote that had been sitting on the arm of the couch, turning the TV on and flipping through the channels. You weren't paying attention to the show he'd put on. Oh, crap, my eye. However, you were more focused on his face. You were taking in every detail, every scar, every mark. His slightly tanned skin that looked so soft and his brown hair that made you want to run your fingers through it. The way the light caught his hazel brown eyes in just the right way to make them shine. His soft lips and the slight stubble on his jaw. He needed to shave. You laughed softly at this, causing him to look down at you with furrowed brows. Not understanding why you laughed, you wave your hand dismissively and he shrugs, going back to watching his show. Tim's hand moves to touch your hair, his fingers combing through it. You smile softly, closing your eyes again as you allow him to comb his fingers through your hair. You could feel yourself drifting back to sleep, though you didn't mind. You were comfortable, using Tim's legs as a pillow as he played with your locks. Soon enough, you'd fallen asleep once again. Okay. This is the author's note / potential question. I felt it necessary to put the warning, as I am aware that people may be more sensitive to those subjects than others. This book is meant for an older audience. However, that does not mean that it's not okay to put a warning. Also, I would like to give a shout out to my friends from Animo who are reading this, as well as everyone else. Your support and kindness means so much to me, and without it, I'd have given up writing this story years ago. To add to this, I'm aware it's been a long time since the last update, and to all those who have been waiting, I apologize. Thank you for your patience. Stay safe, and creepy Kai out. So not question, but just letting you know. I'm gonna say this again. This is probably not the most normalist or healthiest behavior. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. This video will just have so much warnings. I'm not gonna lie to myself. It's gonna have so many warnings. Which is fine, but gosh darn. But yes, the relationship that Masky and we have is not normal. It is not healthy, and it is not good. It's like a very insanely toxic relationship right there. I'm just letting you guys know, don't think that this is normal, what you should expect from an actual healthy relationship, because if it is like that, it's definitely toxic and you definitely need to call the cops ASAP. Okay? So, anywho, we are officially in chapter 13. Warning, contains descriptions of child abuse, cursing, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, detailed descriptions of violence, i.e. drowning, stabbing, choking, suffocating, may contain self-harm. Above the image is Felix, made using Pic Crew. Wait, see Felix? Alright, so the music jump scared me, but this is what Felix looks like apparently. Okay. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we is in chapter 13, and for the warnings for this chapter, it contains descriptions of child abuse, cursing, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, detailed descriptions of violence, i.e. drowning, stabbing, choking, suffocating, may contain self-harm. Okay. The bath filling could be heard from down the hall as your aunt had decided to get ready for another secret date. You sat in the room your aunt and uncle had provided for you, sitting on the bare mattress that sat on the floor. In your hands was a pair of leather gloves that you soon slipped on. You hear your aunt humming as she walks down the hall, listening as the bathroom door opens and the water shuts off. Grabbing a baseball bat, you walk out of your room and down the hall, carefully opening the bathroom door. Your aunt faced away from you. Facing the tub as she began untying her red ribbon. You throw the door all the way open, running in with the bat above your head, not giving her any time to react. Putting all your force behind it, you swung the bat down, the metal crashing into her head with a sickening crack. She fell to the floor, the gaping wound in her head bleeding profusely as she held it, making gurgled screams. You smirk at the sight of her curly blonde locks becoming red with her blood. Her blue eyes stared back at you with fear, the life slowly fading from them as her mouth hung open in shock. You leave the bathroom, locking the door and heading down the stairs to the living room. There on the couch was your uncle, his nose red from all the lines he had been doing. You pick up the bag of white powder that's out on the floor, and using a small spoon in it to carefully mix in to his bottle of liquor. You kick the couch once you're done, causing him to wake up with a snort as you duck and hide. He immediately goes for the bottle, chugging the last of it as expected before throwing the bottle against the wall and passing out again. You take the baseball bat and carefully place it in his right hand, wrapping his arms around it before heading out the door where you met up with Felix as you take the gloves off. You toss the gloves into the trunk of Felix's car as you two take off down the road. You drove late into the night, reaching a party a friend was having. The last thing you remember clearly was walking inside and grabbing a few drinks. After that, it was a mess of blurred lights and dancing with girls. When you came to, you found yourself asleep, sprawled out on the couch with Felix on the floor next to you. The news playing on the TV. You woke Felix up, pointing at the TV. Your aunt's secret date had gotten impatient and went to find her, only to find your OD'd uncle, holding the bat used to kill your aunt. She must have tried getting up and getting out, because she was found face first in the tub, and you knew she had been on the floor when you left her. Okay. Face first in the tub. What? Oh, okay, I was like, wait a minute. She must have tried getting up and getting out, because she was found face first in the tub, and you knew she had been on the floor when you left her. You and Felix left the party, heading to his grandmother's house, meeting Grams as she let you two in. You got called soon after to meet with the police, and you and Felix headed to the station. You didn't show any sadness as the police told you what had happened, and when questioned about it, you told them that you couldn't feel sad for the people who you only knew for hurting you. Felix confirmed that you nearly died on multiple occasions due to them. Your German aunt was called and agreed to let you stay with Felix's family until she bought you a house. You and Felix celebrated this small victory in your life for months after. And soon, it wasn't just months, but every day till you left was spent celebrating. As you lay there in bed, having just woken up from the dreamlike memory, you couldn't help but wonder what Felix was doing, and miles away in the town you both lived in was Felix, getting back from school. His face was bruised and nose was bloody, and his hand was his backpack. He dropped his bag next to the door as Archimedes walks out of the room to greet him. He smiles softly, leaning down a bit and petting the large dog's head before walking into the kitchen and beginning to cook. He looked out the window, staring at the night sky and wondering how his childhood friend was doing. Things had become lonely for him, and school had gone out of control. There was at least 5 fights every day now, and Felix would admit that he wasn't really stopping anything. If anything, he was only provoking the fights, joining in on occasion. He picked up his phone, going through his contacts. He didn't even have time to scroll through them, clicking the one at the top. He left a voicemail after voicemail on that number, hoping his friend would one day pick up. "Hello, this is YN." His friend's familiar voice rings out from the other end, bringing a soft smile to his face. "I can't come to the phone right now. Leave a message. And Felix, if this is you, stop calling, you idiot. My phone bill is skyrocketing because of you." The voice was followed by a loud beep, then silence, waiting for the other to speak. He starts with a soft sigh. "Hey bro, it's been a while since I've actually heard you speak to me directly, and not a recording. Where are you? I miss you. You better still be alive wherever you are. Please come home soon. School has become chaos. I've become a mess. Everything's falling apart, man. We need you." The familiar beep ending the message was heard before Felix sighs, ending the call and setting his phone down on the counter. He slowly sank to his knees, leaning against the side of the sink as his eyes began to sting. Tears slowly built up in his eyes before spilling out, rolling down his cheeks and leaving salty trails before trailing to make damp spots in his pants. His silent tears were soon followed by small sobs and hiccups. It felt like the weight of 1,000 worlds was slowly pressing down on him. A small, quiet groan of upset and frustration leaving his lips as he lifts a hand to wipe ever-flowing streams of tears. He missed his friend. He was worried. He had no clue if the other was alive or if something had happened. All of his worries had built up until it all came down crashing on him, leaving him a sobbing mess on the floor. He seemed to cry for hours, his heart and mind hurting until eventually he could cry no more. Sniffling and hiccuping, his breath ragged as he slowly calmed himself. Once he was able to breathe again, he got up, putting Archimedes on his leash and bringing him outside. He walked towards the forest and down a trail, pulling a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, sticking one in his mouth and lighting it up before inhaling. Sticking the cigarette pack and lighter back in his pocket, he takes the cigarette from his lips and blows out a cloud of smoke. He knew smoking was a bad habit, but it's what has been keeping him calm at the end of each day. "What am I doing with myself, Archie?" He asked the large pup, knowing he wouldn't receive an actual answer from the dog. Oh, whoopsie. As he expected, Archimedes just let out a huff and continued sniffing the ground. He sighs softly, nodding as though he were agreeing with the dog. As I figured. Alright, let's see. Note from author. I began writing this story after wanting to try writing from a male protagonist's point of view. I was bored of the same old she-her stories I was writing and wanted to try something new. So I wrote the beginning chapter, and after a bit, sort of got stuck. How did you all find this story? 1,392 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. Definitely, for me, sometimes not consistent. You know? I feel like there should have been more done with the gambling thing other than that one time. So, there could have been, like, more potential if there was still... Oh my god, what the oh, that scares me. Oh my god. Anyways, what I was saying, if it had, like, a bit more stuff that was more consistent. Anyways, Chapter 14. Warning. Language, blood, drug abuse, depictions of violence. The rain pelted down on you like hundreds of cold pellets berating your skin, leaving goosebumps in their wake. Your bare feet slapping against the wet ground. Sharp rocks and sticks tearing into your skin as you ran through the dark forest. Your thoughts question peacefully. How did I go so wrong? It was so peaceful. The sound of a gun firing rings through your ears. A sharp pain bolting through your leg as you collapse face first into the mud, all air leaving your lungs. The sound of a handgun being reloaded with a new clip could only be heard as you all knew where this was where it ends. The sound of the bullet firing echoing through the forest. Several hours earlier. You hummed softly as you sat on the couch, shoving chips into your mouth as the TV drains out the sound of the rain outside. Tim hadn't been home all day, and you weren't worried in the slightest, though your ignorance for Tim's safety was soon turned to the very man you were thinking about bursting through the door. soaking wet. He closes the door behind himself before turning to you, his feminine mask staring back at you blankly. Are you glaring? I told you to stay in the basement. Tim's booming voice breaks your sentence off. Well, the basement's boring. I'm sorry you're afraid to show me to your friends. Why, shut the fuck up. You don't own this house and you're not the boss. Do as I say or I... What? You kill me? I know, dumbass. But you don't get to just lock me away in the basement all day and then bitch that out when I want some freedom. You don't even let me outside. It's for your own damn safety. It's my safety, my ass. You shout, standing and tossing the chips on the floor before storming over to the door and shoving past Tim. The hell you think you're doing? Going outside. You swing the door open, taking a brave step onto the porch only to hear the click of a gun. Your eyes widen as you look to your right, seeing a man in a yellow hoodie. Well, I mean, at least you got it early, right? Their face was covered by a black ski mask with a red crown sewn on it. No eye holes visible, meaning it was probably see-through. You stumble forward, tripping on your own feet as he shoots at you, barely missing your face as you fell face first on the porch stairs and straight into mud. Looking up, you see the man was aiming the gun at your head. Though before he could shoot, Tim grabbed his wrist and pushed it away. The masked one began trying to wrestle his wrist from Tim's grasp, and without a second thought, you scramble to your feet and begin running through the woods, using this as your opportunity to escape being shot. You hear a few more gunshots ring out behind you, fueling you to go faster. To run faster. You didn't know where to go, but you knew you needed to escape, so you didn't stop for even a second. Though before you knew it, you heard the sound of heavy feet hitting the ground behind you. It wasn't Tim. You've been chased by Tim before, and he didn't stomp like that. You were freezing. You were only wearing a t-shirt and some shorts. The rain pelting down on you like hundreds of cold pellets berating your skin, leaving goosebumps in their wake. Your sore, bleeding bare feet slapped against the wet ground. Sharp rocks and sticks tearing into your skin as you ran through the dark forest. You hadn't ran in so long. You weren't as fast anymore, and you were getting exhausted already. The sound of the gun firing rings through your ears. A sharp pain bolting through your leg as you collapse face first in the mud. All your air leaving your lungs. Your pursuer's footsteps could be heard slowing down as he approaches you. The sound of a handgun being reloaded right behind you, and you knew this is where it ends. The sound of the gun firing echoing through the forest as your eyes squeezed shut. If only you had listened. It wasn't the lack of pain that caused you to open your eyes. Rather, the sound of a body hitting the mud with a thump and a grunt. As you look behind you, eyes wide, you see Tim, shoulder bleed, wrestling on the ground with the masked man. The gun laid just at your feet. Only 2 bullets, less than a full clip. You knew you could use it right then and right here and now. End this all. Reaching for the gun, your hands touch the cold metal, your trembling fingers wrapping around it slowly. Stop fighting me, Brian. Tim's rough voice loudly growls out, bringing your attention back to the fighting men, just in time to witness Tim sending a hard blow to Brian's face. Don't call me that. The surprisingly deep, robotic sounding voice of the other calls out. Been taking too many of your meds, Tim? Don't act so righteous. We both know Masky is the real you. Shut up! You're the one who steals my pills to get all doped up and forget who you are, bastard! Tim shouts, throwing another punch. You should get out of here. You need to get out of here. But you couldn't leave Tim. Raising the gun, you fire it once. A loud boom ringing out and causing both men to look at you. You couldn't see their faces, but you were sure that they were shocked. How is he? You really thought you wouldn't pick up the gun? Oh, hell no. I'll shoot them in one sitting and get the hell out of there. Ryan, put the gun down. Tim says calmly, only for Brian to suddenly pull out a knife and stab him in the stomach, then punching him in the face and snapping his mask. Tim fell off of Brian, hitting the ground hard. His broken mask falls off as Brian darts to his feet and tries to snatch the gun away. Before he could get close enough, you pointed the gun at him, causing him to freeze and put his hand up. Why, right? Why don't you listen to your pathetic boyfriend and get the gun back from him? Ryan tries to convince you only for you to shoot his knee, causing him to fall. Listen here, you bastard. You growl out, I don't give a shit who you are or what you want, and I don't give a shit if you want to kill me. You spoke with only confidence in your voice, slowly looking up to meet the other's eyes. You know why? Because I'm not just some pathetic child or weak human you can kill. I'm a fucking demon, and I will tear your world apart, bit by bit. Your voice held so much confidence you were even surprised. Nevertheless, you pushed yourself to your feet, standing shakily with the gun in your hand. My leg, killing you. You thought your thoughts call out, but you continue. You can do your best to fuck me up and break me, but I've lived through darker shit than either of you, and I'll keep living through it. So go ahead, tear each other apart, fight all you want, but if you ever come looking for me, the police won't be able to identify your remains as a human. You turn and begin walking off, suddenly losing any care for Timothy. In the moment, you realize that Tim may be strong, but you've been through this and before, you made it out alive and free then. Plus, you just saw the guy who stabbed Tim. You feel powerful. A smile creeps onto your face, and soon a small chuckle escapes. That's right. This isn't the worst I had to go through. Maybe I should make a name for myself outside of the gambling in a dingy town. I know. I'll move to the city. Oh, okay. And, sorry. From the author. And chapter over. So dramatic? Yes. Empowering? Yes. But what do you all think? On another note, did you know British tanks were equipped with a tea kettle? It's true. 1,331 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. I did know that, and I like it, but, does that mean our terrible, quote-unquote, normal, quote-unquote boyfriend is dead? Because if he is, bad bitch energy, period. Kill him. Anyways, chapter 15. You must have walked for miles. The forest seemed to stretch for an unfathomable length. Terrain rugged and mostly untouched by mankind. You had only occasionally come across bones, skeletons of animals or hikers that had gotten lost, or victims of the murderers that resided out here. You had yet to come across another living being, feeling as though it was just you and the endless expansion of vegetation that lay before you. You questioned if you were making circles, got turned around, or perhaps just walking deeper, or, subjectively the most absurd, had been brought to a whole new world. But regardless of your mind and deteriorating sanity, you held the gun tightly in your hand and pushed onward. After hours of walking, you eventually came to a stop and sat down against a tree, your soaked clothes sticking to your body and the mud soaking into your pants. You felt gross. Nevertheless, you were too tired to persist and were in dire need of a good rest. Closing your eyes, you laid your head against the rough bark of the tree, letting exhaustion set in as you drifted to a deep sleep. You don't recall any dreams occurring before you were awoken again. But when your eyes finally opened once more, it was the sound of a rustling of a large creature. Your hand that still laid on the stolen firearm had immediately tensed to grip the gun tightly once more. Your pointer resting just below the trigger guard as your eyes scanned the vegetation carefully. Had Tim found you, or was the hooded male finally catching up? No. As it darted past, it became clear that this thing was too fast to be Tim and too quiet to be the hooded male. No, well, this was something different. Was it even human? You stood quickly, the point going out in front of you for your protection, the barrel still aimed to the ground and your finger not yet reaching the trigger. Your leg threatened to buckle as the still bleeding wound sent pain coursing through you. The creature must have been attracted by the smell of your blood. The weeds before you began rustling loudly, and slowly from its cover crept a sickly pale human-like creature with long, spear-like fingers protruding from its hands. Its face looking as though it had been melted. Tiny beady eyes glaring from sunken sockets, and rows of inhumanely sharp teeth lining its mouth behind melted lips and torn flesh. Its body was little more than skin and bones. Limbs mangled in a way that forced this creature to stand on all fours with a wide stance. Its stomach looked bloated, like that of a corpse that had sat too long in the sun. The sound it emitted, a sort of gurgled, struggled groan that sounded almost as though the beast were mocking a growl, or the foul scent of rot that seemed to burn as it filled your lungs had you frozen in place. Unable to lift your arms and take aim. What was this beast? You could only stare in disgust, horror, and confusion as your body refused to move. Only as the beast ran for you, leaping into the air with its claws aimed at your throat, had your arms flung into reaction, your fingers pulling back the trigger that fired a single bullet from the barrel and right into the beast's head. The creature collapsed in a puddle of black, sludge-like blood, overpowering smell of something that should never be possible filling your lungs, leaving you hacking and gagging as you desperately covered your mouth and nose, stumbling away from the creature. You had only gotten so far when you heard the creature's corpse begin to move. Fear setting into you and in you as you feared how this creature was still able to stand. The loud, ear-piercing screech was what had put your legs in motion. Adrenaline pumping through your veins as your legs pushed you forward as fast as humanly possible. You had to get away, but you knew that wasn't possible in the state you were in. You didn't have to run long, however, as you soon found yourself falling down a steep hill, rolling and bouncing along rocks and sticks, being torn by protruding roots and sharp stones. The last you saw was your head bounding off a paved road and two bright lights headed straight for you. Wow. Alright, author's note. Wow. 2 chapters in less than a month apart? Is this a miracle? Nope. Just got excited to write again. 765 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. Okay, no question this time, Ness. Alright. This is a thank you note for everyone. I actually do not want to read this. So if you guys want to read the thank you note, it's right before chapter 15, just to let you all know. Alright. Wow, 3 chapters left. Look at that. Anyways, no you do not. Oh my gosh. These jump scares are insane right now, I swear. Ugh. It's okay. We stopped it in time. Anyways, chapter 16. The sound of wheels against wet pavement, the hum of an engine, the sound of quiet music, and the feeling of a soft reclined seat were the only things you awoke to. Your eyes opening only to be forced closed by the brightness of the sun outside the vehicle window, nearly blinding your sensitive eyes that had been used to the shaky forest and dark cabin. Oh, you're awake! The shaky voice of the timid male driving the vehicle spoke out to you, causing you to look towards him only to hiss in pain and grab your head. The vehicle pulled off to the side and parked as the male quickly grabbed a small bottle of pills and held them out to you. Here, I'll help. It'll help with your head. Don't worry, I'm a doctor. It's safe to take them. Right. You hit your head pretty badly. Your hand shakily reached out. The doctor taking and dumping a couple pills into your palm before handing you a bottle of water as well. Thanks. Your dry and raspy voice made you cringe, but you worry about that later. Taking the pills and chugging down the water, you then pushed yourself to a much more comfortable position and turned to look at the man who had begun driving once more. Who are you anyways? Oh, how rude of me. I'm Dr. Will Stogner. You're lucky I managed to step on the brakes before I drove over your head on the other day. The other day? Yeah, you've been out for 2 days. I almost thought you had died. And you were driving around with a dead guy in your car? Well, what else was I supposed to do? You were hurt, and as a doctor, it is my duty to help every human I can. Plus, you clearly aren't dead, so I was right to do so. Oh, please. People only think that if it to make up for their tiny ego or because they failed to save someone in their past. What if I said it was both? A better question. What were you doing through the woods, injured and poorly dressed? You were soaked to the bone and covered in blood. What happened? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Can I ask your name at least? YN. Your voice came out in a sort of groan as you looked out the window now, slumping back into your seat. You had been through hell, and it looked as though the doctor could tell as he had gone quiet. As you watched the many cars pass out your window, you furrowed your brows, finding this place familiar. Hey, you muttered to yourself, sitting straighter now. This is the town 40 hours from the suburbs I grew up in. So you know this place? Yeah, like I said, the suburbs I grew up in are 40 hours away. Well, what a coincidence. I happen to live in those suburbs. I'm guessing you still live in the area then? Yeah, I live by the school near the forest. How did you end up states away then? You clear your throat nervously. Was running. Running? Why? You were silent. What were you able to say? Would he believe you? I was being hunted down by a psychopath. Timothy. You wondered for a split second if he had survived that stab wound. Most likely someone to die from being stabbed. Excuse me. How likely is someone to die from being stabbed? You gestured to a spot near your right hip on your stomach, where Tim had been stabbed. About here, with, let's say, 5-inch blade. The doctor looked at you and furrowed his brow before looking back to the road. Well, if someone stabbed you there, they may either... Well, if someone stabbed you they either weren't stabbing with the intention to kill, or are just bad at killing. You don't have a wound there, though, so why do you ask? You let out a sigh, shaking your head. At least that meant that he probably wouldn't die. Just wondering. No reason. Forget I ever asked. Why were you even so worried about him? He's the one who got you into this situation in the first place. If not for Tim. Let's get something to eat, then head to a hotel for the night. I need to redo your bandages, and we need to rest a bit before continuing. The doctor says. You begrudgingly nodded in agreement. He soon pulled to a small store and parked the car, unbuckling and sitting there for a moment before looking to the other. You just wait here, all right? He asked, not waiting an answer before getting out and going into the store, leaving you alone. You sat there quietly, relaxing into the still reclined seat and closing your eyes. Letting out a quiet breath, you lifted a hand to place over your forehead. The medicine helped, but there was a soft throb in your skull. At some point you might have passed out, because soon you found yourself waking up as you were being laid on a soft bed. Oh God, you woke up again. The doctor's soft voice calls as he backs up and you sit up. You were then presented with a McDonald's bag and a drink, presumably the food the doctor had picked up for you. I hope you're fine with chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets? McDonald's chicken nuggets? Hell yeah, man. In my opinion, Wendy's chicken nuggets are better, but anyways. Your words managed to get a light chuckle from the doctor, who sat down on a seat in front of a small table, opening his own bag as you dug the nuggets out of yours and began eating faster than you have ever before. After choking a bit and gulping down half the cup of cola, however, you decided that perhaps taking it slow was better. When you finished, you stood up, a slight pain shooting through your leg a second before subsiding. Where's the trash can? You couldn't stand. Your leg was shot, I know. Yet I still managed to run from 2 murderers and a wild beast. So where's the trash? The doctor who had stood to force you to sit back down, ended up being the one to slowly sit back down, rather astonished by your ability to stand with a fucked up leg that would keep any man down for days. He pointed to the garbage bin, silent as he watched you walk towards it and throw away your trash. Your pain tolerance must be astonishingly high. His voice came quiet as he made his observation. Actually, I'm just used to being wounded. I didn't have the ideal childhood after all. and always ended up hurt. So a wound as small as a bullet wound won't do much to me. You reply as you take your spot back on the couch. Alright, but I feel like I deserve a better explanation for why you happen to be in the woods and how you got like that. The doctor's full attention had been set on you, leaving you to sigh and lay down. Look, I'm just a normal 19-year-old with a normal life, alright? Well, clearly not. No normal 19-year-old just so happens to be out in the woods bloody and beaten. He got you there. Fine, but you'll call me crazy. We'll see. A while back, I had been a normal student in school, living a normal life like everyone else. Except for the fact that I was a gambler and owned a bar. That was where it actually started. Okay. Author's note. Funny to think that this is only the 16th chapter, even though I'd been writing this story for how long? A year? 1,252 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. Crazy. No, you don't. No, you don't. Alright, Chapter 17. The scruffy, brown-haired male with beautiful eyes. You understood now why you chose to play that game with him. He was handsome, and despite your sexual denial in that time, you couldn't help the attraction you felt. Tim? The male smiles. The way he spoke, the feel of his rough hand against yours as you introduced yourself. Why, in? We walked until we reached the path and went our separate ways. I never thought I'd see the men again. Days later, the severed finger of a girl in my school showed up at my house. What the fuck? Felix relaxes, looking at the box, approaching it. You lift it, opening to find a severed finger. A bloody, severed finger with a pink, sparkly acrylic nail. Small white stones embedded into the pink polish. You nearly puked at the sight. Horror setting in as you saw the inside of the lid you had still held in your left hand only to find a picture of a girl. The girl who had tried kissing you in the hallway yesterday. Bloodied and beaten. Her head bashed in so bad she was hardly recognizable. You realize now that feeling you had gotten wasn't fear, rather excitement. This was a new beginning to your mundane style. Then my friend group had begun vanishing, everyone I was close to being murdered until it was just me and my friend. You think they would still be alive if I weren't around? You asked Felix in a quiet, shaky voice. What? Dude, you couldn't have prevented this. This isn't because of you. But it is. They're targeting everyone I'm close to. Even the old man who ran that bar was killed. Silence fell between the two of you for a long moment. Just before you could speak, Felix broke the uneasiness. Sorrowful peace. At least I'm still here, and I don't plan to ever die. That was the night I decided to run away. I packed up everything I could and drove for miles until my car finally broke down. I figured if I went straight down through the woods, I would find a town to get help at, so I packed the bare minimum and left. But that was a big mistake. You ran as fast as you could. God, how stupid were you? There were murderers, covered in blood, and holding weapons, and you just had to go and make noise. Now they were after you. You looked behind you, and in that moment, your foot slipped on from behind you, your body flying forward and before crashing to the ground. Your head bounced off a rock, warmth and wetness covering that spot as your vision began fading. The all too familiar face, the white mask of a man you'd come to know so well, yet so oblivious of, was the last thing you saw. The next thing I knew, I woke up in the basement. I tried hiding. I tried running, but it didn't work. The first few days, or perhaps weeks, were hell, but soon enough I gave in and began obeying this man. I realized he was unstable in that moment and hoped to trick him. But soon enough I found myself developing Stockholm syndrome towards this horrible man. Your lips locked with the others, tongues tangled in passion, and then I'm not gonna say anything else, blah 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 blah. Eventually, I had made myself comfortable there. I learned his name. He let me leave the basement. I was free to roam the house, but I got cocky. He told me to stay in the basement when he was out. I didn't listen. We argued, and I found myself walking out, only to immediately have a gun aimed at me. And then this is basically what happened earlier. My captor ended up being the one to try and protect me. He got stabbed for it. In the end, I threatened them both and ran. I don't know how far I am or how long I was running, but I ended up finding myself being chased by a wild animal and you fell into the road where I happened to find you. Exactly. You were quiet now, sitting there, staring at your hands for a long while before sighing. What about you? Why were you so far out there? I was needed a few countries away to perform a difficult surgery, and I'm not a big fan of planes. You gave a nod in response before moving to a more comfortable position. Well, Jeanette, I suppose. Thanks for the food, Doc. Please, call me Will. You rest well. We'll get you home tomorrow. The lights went out. The sound of the doctor climbing into his separate bed being heard before the room went quiet. You could hear the faint sounds of crickets outside. Their chirping helping to ease your mind. Soon enough, you were fast asleep once more, the world around you fading out and into a dream. It must have been hours before when you woke up to a bang on your door, your eyes flying open to be temporarily blinded as the lights were flicked on. As they adjusted, you sat up to see 3 men holding guns, barking orders to you and Will. The both of you were startled, hands in the air as you stood from your beds on command, though you felt a familiar burning rage bubbling up inside you. Give us all your valuables and you'll both live, one of the men shouted, their hand shaking as the gun moved from you to Will, the other 2 already searching the room. He looked scared. He must have never done this before. We have nothing of value, I swear. Will's voice was calm despite holding a slight shake. Bullshit, the man yelled back. Hey, shut the fuck up. What? Hey, shut the fuck up, asshole, you barked back at the man in anger. Will looked to you with shock and fear as the man turned to you with a glare. The other 2 stopped what they were doing to look at the scene playing out. What did you say? I said, you growled out, shut the fuck up, asshole. Wine, stop. Will called to you in hopes you wouldn't say any more. Wine, is it? The man's voice was laced with rage. Your ignorance seemed to have pissed him off. How about you fucking make me? Before you could react, the outsole of the asshole of the man's boot collided with your stomach, sending you spiraling on your back on the floor. Why, Will yelled as he dropped to your side. I didn't say you could move. The man's voice rang out, followed by a gun firing, the bullet just barely missing the 2 of you and launching itself on the floor. You were frozen in shock for a moment, listening to the man cackling at your fear and turned around. Pathetic. That pissed you off. You slowly pushed yourself up before walking towards the man who turned around at the sound of your approach. Before this man could raise his gun, your fist flew at his face, causing the man to stumble back, which gave you enough time to throw a punch with your other fist. As he fell, his companions now raising their own guns, you grabbed the man by the shirt and raised him into the air. 3 shots rang out before it went quiet. The gun in your flesh shield hand falling as blood poured from the holes in his back. A cough causing the crimson liquid to spray your face. Look at that. You killed your own friend. Your voice was cold and uncaring as you slowly lowered yourself to the floor, grabbing the falling gun as the 2 men stared in horror at their mistake. After the shit I've seen, you 3 are like pesky ants. Without a second's hesitation, you fired 2 rounds, 1 bullet for the 2 men left. Their bodies soon hit the floor as you dropped the one you had used as a shield before turning to Will, who stared in horror and fear. I suggest you get out of here. Climb into your car and drive as far as you can. Go home. Forget this happened. Forget you met me. He didn't need to be told twice, rushing out of the door with his keys. The sound of his car starting and speeding off was the last time you heard of the doctor as you gathered the other 2 guns, leaving everything else as you walked out the door. The city, huh? You planned it. You figured you could be a big name gambler. But now look at you. You're a murderer. Congratulations. Author's note, kind of. 1,606 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. Oh, lordy. Oh, my lordy lord. That is, oof. Wow. No, you do not scare me with that. Alright, We're in Chapter 18. The weight of the gun in your hand felt right. The boots and leather jacket you stole from one of the corpses felt comfortable. The burning rage and determination in your soul as you thought back on the last few months of your life felt all too real. At some point after leaving the motel, you found yourself preparing for a battle you were unsure you could win. A war you sought to fight and win so no one else would ever have to go through what you did. By some miracle, you found a bulletproof vest. And and had even found enough ammo to last your little pistol months. What the fuck do you think this is? The Punisher? Of course none of that was real. Well, aside from the boots and jacket. They were cool. You couldn't pass them up. Plus you needed a new jacket. The gun? Well, who you'd assume was the leader of that little post had a few extra full clips on him, so you took them. You'd been traveling by foot for maybe 3 weeks by now, not sure what to do. You couldn't head home, but you couldn't stay in public, which you found out shortly after the incident where that crazed, frowny-faced fucker massacred 2 people searching for you. No, you didn't shoot him, not wanting to cause a big scene in public. Instead, you ran, profusely leading him away and eventually into traffic where you successfully lost him after he got hit by a car. You doubted he was dead, though. You ran like hell until you found yourself right back into another forest. Where you find yourself now, days later, trekking through its depths. You're growing tired of this. Growing tired of finding yourself in the forest alone and lost. Tired of running from a psychopathic masked figure and fearing for your life. Even despite that, though, there was one masked man you couldn't help but wish was chasing you now. How long has it been since you last saw Tim? You honestly weren't sure, but you sort of missed him. As stupid as that was. He had kidnapped you in the first place. It was his fault you were in this mess. Yet for some reason you felt this sort of longing whenever you thought of him arose. When the thought of him arose. Realizing you'd come to a stop, you let out a heavy breath and continued forward once more. Your fingers wrapped around the grip of the gun like everything depended on it. And if you were being honest, it sort of did. Your source of food, your protection, your survival, and God forbid that creature show itself again. Without this gun, you were good as dead. With that thought in mind, it was no wonder why you practically jumped hearing a sound in the nearby foliage, raising your gun quickly and beginning to walk towards the tall weeds and grass. Your advancements on the spot startled the being inside, and a small brown rabbit darted from its hiding spot and ran into the woods, causing you to let out a sigh and relax. God, it's just a rabbit. Your frustrated mumble was all it took to draw in the attention of a nearby masked figure, and before you knew it, your body was hitting the ground, a much heavier weight atop you as the force caused your vision to go black for a moment. You began struggling, trying to get out of their grasp as you reached for your gun that flew from your hand when you fell. Your struggle was soon stopped as you were forced onto your back and a punch was thrown at your face, your arms quickly flying to block the second. You had no time to fight back as punch after punch was thrown at you, hardly having an opening and no time to ready your own punch. Though that didn't seem to matter. You were sure you were dead. The pain soon becoming numbing as you felt your hold on reality slipping. All you could do was take the pain. Vision quickly fading as you found yourself unable to protect your face anymore. A distant, loud shout was heard, and before a long blur of black and brown fur darting past you and tackling your attacker on the ground, biting ferociously as the man did all he could to defend himself. Armand? Your voice came out as a mere whisper, but it was no doubt your dog. Jumping to your feet as the man elbows much larger than the last time you saw him, dog off, the gun had been tossed, was quickly picked up as you took no time in hurrying to kick the still pained man down harshly, making sure you broke at least one of his ribs. His pained shout brought a grin to your face, and for a moment you hadn't even noticed the blonde who had appeared not far from you in the tree line. No doubt they're for the runaway dog. Look at that, came your voice in low and calm. Looks like the tables have turned now, huh, fucker? You got no words in reply. the man staying still with his hands gripping your ankle tightly. Surely in pain from the dog attack and definitely glaring at you. Without hesitation, you fired around into the man's leg. Speak, fucker! You bark out over his groans of pain. Last time I saw you, I was being chased through the fucking city while you carelessly fired a fucking gun at me. You sure had lots to say there, didn't you? Your death is imminent. You can't run forever. Isn't that right? You sure fucking know your way around pissing people off. The man's voice was low, a chuckle lacing into his words. YN? A new voice. You didn't think you would ever hear it again. What's going on? He was scared. Trembling words. Confusion only furthering fueling that fear. The man beneath you only laughing as you failed to answer. You've become a monster, YN. Shut the fuck up. Don't you dare say my name. Hearing this man beneath you speak your name filled you with disgust. I'll tell you what's going on. I'm about to unload a clip into this motherfucker's chest and watch him bleed. The way you said it scared you, even you. Maybe you had become a monster, but only monsters can live in a world like this. Without another thought, you pulled the trigger. Again and again, you fired bullets into this man's chest repeatedly until the gun ran empty, to which you threw the weapon at his head. His body had gone limp after the third or fourth bullet, but you still felt enraged, dropping to sit on his chest as you punched his face over and over, your lips pulling into a sadistic smile. You had almost failed to notice the laugh that bubbled up your chest and escaped your lips. You had no choice but to stop as two arms wrapped beneath yours and pulled you back, pulling your flesh into against a shaking form. Your breathing was heavy and exhaustion began taking hold as the adrenaline finally began fading away. YN, stop. It was as though those words, that scared and trembling voice, the feeling of the other pressing his face into the top of your head, had pulled you back from a dark pit on the ground, as though they had reached into your grave and brought you back from the dead. Felix? Your voice became dry and weak, the grip on you loosening enough for you to pull free and turn to the other, only to see those big, bright blue eyes you loved so much crying. They looked so dull. He looked so weak, broken, defeated, and all you could wonder was, is this because of me? Of course it was. You up and abandoned your best friend for God knows how long, leaving him to deal with everything on his own, only to come back and murder someone in front of him. You reach out for him only for him to flinch away as the look of fear dashed through his eyes, Armand barking wildly at you. It was only then when you realized you were covered in blood. Pulling your hand back and standing to your feet quickly. You stand to your feet quickly. Oh my God, Felix. You managed out before tripping over the corpse of the man you had just murdered, falling backwards and landing hard on your ass into the dirt. Your eyes fell on the body, and while you felt no remorse for him, you felt guilty for subjecting Felix to this. I really am a monster. Okay, author's note. You ever realize how many letters successfully has in it? I swear, I have an external crisis every time I try to spell it. 1,466 words. Stay safe and creepy. Kai out. Oh my God. This is actually a good chapter. I like it. I like this chapter. Oh gosh. Oof. It's emotional. Oh. Really? We already finished? What? Oh, okay. So I would read this all, but it is extremely long, so I'm just gonna cut it real short for you guys. So first, they got some good news. They're updating the story, but this story has not been updated since a couple months ago. The bad news, they said they're gonna update it, but the bad news is they got some severe mental health issues, some problems, and just explaining why they can't update too often, and how, like, their life, like what's going on. Their offer is they're gonna start Ko-fi? I don't know what that is. They're posting art, coloring pages, character bases, and more. If you're interested in supporting me, check it out and buy something. If you can't buy anything, consider sharing it with others and spreading the word. I'm thankful for every view, buy, and share. That's all. Stay safe and creepy, loves. I'll be seeing you in the next chapter. And, yeah. Well, okay. So apparently we kind of made it to the end. I'm not gonna call this story completely finished since they did say they were gonna update it. Anyways, again, I'll keep you guys updated. What did you guys think of the story for now? Did you guys enjoy it? Was it confusing? What do you think could have made it better? You guys let me know in the comments down below. For me, I wish it was a bit more consistent. Like, it started getting better the more you read, but at the same time, I wish it was a bit more consistent, a bit more realistic, instead of we literally making a piece with a guy who just RAPE'd us. I don't think that's normal. But, okay. Not creepypasta is not normal, but you get my point. And, you know, at the same time, I'm like, the more you read it, the more good it's starting to get, the more better it sounds. There's just a lot of triggers here. I'm going to need to warn this immensely. So I'm really glad the author warned us before we actually started the chapter. Thank goodness. But yeah, your girl shall keep y'all updated on this. Promise. Pinky promise. I'm probably going to keep it on the Wattpad playlist of stories I'm currently reading. And if it's been like about a couple months or anything and they haven't updated like not even one chapter, I'm probably going to push it to another playlist. I'm still going to get updates about it, but I want to push it to another playlist. You know, until it gets updated, and I'll put it probably back. Excuse me, sorry. Got lost a little bit of my thoughts there, but, anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy it, though. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. I shall see you in the next futuristic video. I might make a voting thing or something going around soon, maybe. Just for the purpose of seeing if this story is going to get updated or anything like that. If it's not. So, I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated on it, though. But yeah. Your girl sadly gotta go, y'all, though. Bye and peace.